It's too much build up. You can have way too much of one thing. And this is dragging on. Literally, they were just in a house last arc being watched by the sensory unit. Then they break out. Then they run into Code. They fight Code. Then they go back to the village to be put back into another house. Alright, what's going on everybody? Anime Ramble back with another episode. Today we'll be discussing Boruto chapter 74. What is going on? Well, if you remember where we left off from the last episode, Ida, Damon, Amato, they're all on their way back to the Leaf Village. Shikamaru had this plan for Kawaki, Boruto, Ida to all cohabitate with one another, and basically it's just another babysitting mission of them in another house. The first time they were in the house, they were being babysat by the sensory unit. Now they're in the house doing the babysitting. So, you know, you have a teacher becomes the master type of situation here with them leveling up their roles in a house scenario. So, this chapter picks up with Ida and everybody arriving in the Leaf Village. And just like what I said in my previous video, if you have not watched that one, I encourage you to do so. I'll have a link in the description for you. But I've already talked about this before. There's another Otsutsuki ability that has been debuted to us by Ida, if I'm not mistaken, which was kind of confusing at first because I don't actually remember it being stated that Ida and Damon and the androids in general being Otsutsukis, but it kind of makes sense a little bit. Amato may have done some experimentation with some Otsutsuki's DNA, and that was like the blueprint or the foundation for his android army that he's been creating. Nonetheless, it was still a little jarring to see, but you get to see Ida's ability firsthand and what it does. I mean, it just activates on anybody and everybody in the radius. If you turn and you look at her, you're under her spell, and you get the feeling, what am I saying? You know, it makes her very uncomfortable at the fact that she can't just have normal interactions with people, no matter who they are, because of this ability. And it really just, you know, solidifies this chapter, her disdain that she has for Amato. And when it's revealed the relationship between Ida, Damon, the androids, and Amato, and if there is any like true personal relationship between them, it's going to be wild to see what Amato did to somebody he potentially knew. That doesn't change the fact she has the ability of flight. It's incredibly overpowered, and the fact that Amato in this moment turns to Shikamaru and I was like, yeah, they can fly, it's an Otsutsuki ability. Kawaki and Boruto are probably going to get this ability in the future, just so you know they'll be zipping around, which I can only imagine is going to lead to just insane aerial fights we're going to get in the future, on top of more abilities that will be coming out that Otsutsukis have at their arsenal. But nonetheless, she flies away with Damon. She tells Shikamaru before she flies off, like, hey, look, I already know what the plan is, I already know where the house is, I'm going to go there. Now we flash over to the house that they're at because they're going to be locked in another house yet again. You have Sarada and Mitsuki on the outside, and they're setting up for the stakeout, right? That was their whole role. Just be on the outside, make sure nothing happens, nothing gets too heated. You're there if shit goes bad, right? Sarada alludes to the fact there's really no point in us hiding due to the fact that Ida probably already knows we here because she can see and hear everything. Nonetheless, they still choose to stay there because Team 10 pops up. I thought this was supposed to be a super secret mission. That's what it sounded like. The gravitas of this situation, you really wouldn't expect other teams and Jonin to just know where everybody is. I mean, they just pull up and say, hey, we heard there was a beautiful woman over here we wanted to see. Why is this mission not a secret? Why is this mission not a secret? Why are you allowing anybody and everybody to go there? Especially given Ida's ability, she could easily manipulate somebody who is weak of mind into gathering information on the Leaf Village, finding out security codes, trying to find holes and weaknesses. Did they ever patch the hole that the third Hokage left open in the security systems for Itachi? I don't know. Nobody actually ever knew about it, and they're all dead. I'm being a little hyperbolic with this only because Ida's and Damon's abilities are so OP. The complete jutsu arsenal of Otsutsukis is so unknown. You have to theorize stuff on this level. So that's what's happening outside. They're having a conversation, a pointless conversation. You have Chocho talking about how she has to fight for Kawaki, but there's no point in fighting because he's all mine. Chocho, shut the fuck up. No. None of this actually matters. The only thing that matters is Sarada and Mitsuki being there alone, making sure that Kawaki and Boruto don't kill each other or do something stupid to fuck around with Ida and get her to blow up the Leaf Village. Just as I say that though, Ida flies up. And everybody wants to look at Ida. Everybody wants to see what she looks like. And everybody looks at her. Everybody looks at her. This is going to be important because you have Chocho, you have Mitsuki, And basically everybody but Shikadai and Sarada become infatuated by Ida and her ability. Being that far away, they were still infatuated by her. Now Sarada, she's not. Shikadai, he's not. It might be because Sarada is an Uchiha, and Uchihas have that direct blood tie to Otsutsukis. They have a closer blood relation to Otsutsukis than anybody else, right? Same thing with the Hyuga clan. You can make the argument, which is the exact same. All right, that might be one possibility. She wears glasses. That might be another possibility. But Shikadai and Sarada both test very high academically as well. We saw, and if you remember back with Shikamaru, he was able to resist Ida in her ability. He was able to draw kunai. He was able to try to do something, but I mean, Amato said, look, you're going to hurt yourself mentally if you keep trying to resist her ability. You need to relax. Also, distance might actually play a factor in it as well. Mitsuki had that feeling. He was like, I've never felt this before. But he wasn't just overcome with this infatuation like what we saw with Delta or some situation like that, right? But I do think your mental capacity does have a high value in whether or not her ability just outright takes you over and you're under complete mind control, or if you're still cognizant of what you're doing, you just can't do anything. So that happens. Nobody's there to stop her. It's not like she needs to be stopped. She knows where it's at and they were going to go there anyway. But she walks into the building. And Konohamaru is the Boruto version of Konohamaru, right? You have to think, you guys, look. Konohamaru is the only other ninja besides Naruto who took down a path of pain during the pain arc in Naruto Shippuden. He is trash in Boruto. He is also the grandson of the god of Shinobi, who mastered all the different natures of chakra. Konohamaru is terrible. He gets infatuated by Ida, he falls out, and now it's just Kawaki and Boruto that's there. Ida doesn't immediately go into the room, right? And if you look at the panels, I think she's a little bit shy. She's a little bit, she has some butterflies in her stomach because she hears Kawaki's voice and was like, oh, that's Kawaki. But then Damon pops out and he just starts whooping their ass. Like royally whooping their asses, right? And you have Kawaki, he goes in for the attack, boom, deflected. You have Boruto, he goes in for the attack. Damon doesn't even use his ability on Boruto. I don't know if anybody caught that, but he completely bitches Boruto without ever needing to use his ability. He's not deflecting attacks with his Otsutsuki's powers. He's blocking punches, he's kicking him in the face, and he knocked him out with just pure hands. Damon is undisputedly the strongest character in this entire series, and it's not even funny. I don't know what the point of hyping Code up was if he was just going to get washed by Damon. And you can make the argument, oh, it was to subvert expectations. You could have done that without saying he's the strongest in the verse. You could have done that without bolstering this man up as high as he was and just have Damon come out of nowhere and just whoop Code's ass. Limited and limitless. Boruto got taken down. Kawaki got taken down. He's able to deflect all the different Otsutsuki's abilities, and I guess this kind of brings credence to why Ishiki wanted these androids to be sealed. I mean, it brings up the question how you even allowed these powerful of androids to be created in the first place, right? I mean, yeah, they would have defended you, but yeah, they most definitely would have killed you. I think that's the point that Kishimoto was really trying to hammer in here, is that these androids would have been able to take out Ishiki and Jigen and anybody else in the Otsutsuki's family. They would have been able to handle them, and that's being shown outright. But it then brings into question, what was the point of nerfing Naruto and Sasuke? Because yeah, they're strong, even with Kurama, definitely. I mean, he's the strongest with Kurama. It would have been a really good fight between that and Damon. Well, granted, I think Naruto is a Otsutsuki. Possibly. They both lose, they're unconscious, nothing happens. It was really just a very harsh greeting. I believe it said greeting by fire. Damon really wanted to hammer that point in, that they're the ones that are in control. And if you've seen my last or any of my previous Boruto reviews, especially in the past like 3-4 months, I have been advocating and saying heavily that, look, if you get them in the Leaf Village, you might not be able to get them out of the Leaf Village. And what have I been preaching, especially with my rant video that I had about Boruto and its problem? A series of bad decision making. That is what we have here. You just to put 2 bombs in the Leaf Village. You actually have 3 bombs in the Leaf Village. You have Kawaki, you have Ida, you have Code 4 because you have your son Boruto in there as well. There had to be some other place you could have put these people instead of smack dab in the middle of your key city, your key village. All of this happens. Boruto has to report it in. He says that nothing happened. Something did happen, but he doesn't want any issues. But you have Shikamaru sitting down with Amato, and this goes back to the beginning of the chapter where Shikamaru was like, alright, no more lies, you're going to tell me everything this time. Amato was like, yes. Do I believe him? No, because at the end of the day, he can still lie. But with this being the second to last chapter in the upcoming volume release, you can only imagine the exposition dump that we are going to get. We are going to finally find out a lot of information. The information that I'm looking for is who is Amato, what is his relationship to the Otsutsukis? How did they even get him to begin with? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, they came from space. Amato, I'm assuming you were here on Earth. When did this cohabitation between you and Otsutskis happen? Where are you from originally? Right? Because I have an Amato theory too, but that doesn't account for time travel, so I might have to revamp it and make another one. I think I'm going to do that, actually. What is his relationship to the Otsutskis? What is his relationship to the androids? Because if these are androids of people who were already pre-existing, we get that theory because of Kashin Koji, with him being a clone of Jiraiya. What was your relationship to him? You would have had to have had some form of DNA. I'm imagining, because he has his ninjutsu set as well. He has fire release, wind release, he does summoning jutsus. I would imagine you have some form of DNA of Jiraiya. If Kabuto couldn't get to Jiraiya's DNA for the reanimation jutsu, what DNA did Amato already have on standby to substitute for the missing DNA of Jiraiya? Who is Delta in her relationship to Amato? Same thing with Ida, same thing with Damon. These are things that seem to be just forgotten by the androids, right? Ida's issue with Amato isn't that she was turned into an android, it's the fact that she can't love. No one brings up what was actually done. That might have been something that was suppressed via memory jutsu or genjutsu or some form of Otsutsuki's ability we're not yet there to interpret. But Amato says he's going to spill everything, he just has to smoke first, which I'm going to have to expand it more in my 2.0 theory video. But him smoking is something normal that you see in the series, but a lot of characters don't do it. And the characters that do it all share a close relationship to one another. The third Hokage smoked. Asuma smoked. The relationship is that Asuma is the third Hokage's son. Shikamaru picked up smoking from Asuma, and he was the student to Asuma, so that makes sense as to why he picked it up. A lot of other characters really don't smoke, and the ones that do share a connection. So this kind of does tie into my theory that I had about Amato being one of the lost sons of the Sarutobi. If you remember, one son of the third Hokage's we never know about. We know Asuma, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think Asuma is the youngest, or he's the oldest. I think he's the youngest. There's a middle, and then there's an older. There's three that the third Hokage had. We only really get to focus on Asuma, and we know that the falling out that Asuma and the third Hokage had was for a reason. Did this pertain to the death of one of the other two brothers? Possibly, because he went to go join the 12 Guardians after that. So a massive revelation might be coming to the forefront. He might actually also be from the future, because I said it again in my old video. Look, it's not going to be long before the Otsutskis have the ability to travel back and forth through time. And if you are familiar with Kishimoto's previous work, Samurai 8, Tales of Hachimaru, space travel, teleportation, just the entire sci-fi lineage was there. So I could imagine that he's trying to incorporate a lot of what he was going for with Samurai 8, Tales of Hachimaru into this series here. You have a lot of God talk. You have a lot of teleportation and wormhole theories that are coming out from this. It's just, I mean, I think at this point all of us are just reading to see where this man is going with this, and I don't think it would be this bad if it wasn't a monthly series. But because it is a monthly series and we just have chapter after chapter them sitting around talking like it's a shoujo manga, I'm like, yo, you have the second best-selling manga in the history of manga, of battle shonen manga, or just across the board. What do you, I don't understand your thought process here, right? I don't understand the thought process here. This is a lot of buildup. That's the problem. Oh, just wait, it's a buildup. The fights are gonna pay off because of all the buildup. It's too much buildup. You can have way too much of one thing, and this is dragging on. Literally, they were just in a house last arc being watched by the sensory unit. Then they break out. Then they run into Code. They fight Code. Then they go back to the village to be put back into another house. I can't be the only one who thinks standing around watching people in a house is boring. No matter what is going on inside of the house, it's boring. But I think I rambled on long enough. If you are new, go plus ultra and slash the subscribe button. It lets me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about what you think is going on. Do you like this house jumping arc that we're getting from the Boruto shoujo manga? If so, leave down in the comment section. Leave down in the comment section why you like it, why you enjoy this slow paceness, why you enjoy the nerfing, why you enjoy the random abilities popping up left and right for the Otsutskis. And I will keep the content coming frequently as infrequent as humanly possible. And bye-bye.